Hey, this is a Hakawati production. Hey, my friends, I'm Nadia Michelle. Welcome to the show. I'm super thrilled about our guest today because he's truly a game changer. But before we get into it, hit pause and make sure you're subscribed to the Men's Room podcast. We all know how fashion is negatively impacting our planet. We've all heard about it. But did you know that the fashion industry produces 10% of all of humanity's carbon emissions? It's also the second largest consumer of the world's water supply. And it also pollutes the oceans with microplastics because washing some types of clothes sends thousands of bits of plastic into the waterways. And what's even worse is 85% of all textiles go to the dump each year. That's where our next guest comes in. He's a Lebanese fashion designer who produces his clothes using vintage material and dead stock, and he's also Fashion Trust Arabia ready-to-wear prize winner. Please welcome Roni Helou. Hi, Roni. Welcome to the Men's Room. We met actually last year at Fashion Trust Arabia in Qatar, and I really liked your style, and I'm not just talking about your clothes. So explain to us a little bit what the label is about.
Hey, so basically, Roni Helou is a label for we're a ready-to-wear brand, mostly focused on women's wear, but now we're trying to do more menswear. It's a sustainable brand, which means we try to do our best. We're not 100. There's no such thing as 100% sustainable, but we do our best to be more eco-friendly, animal-friendly, human-friendly. So it's doing our best to be better. Basically, we only use dead stocks and dead materials or vintage dead stock materials or vintage, even like when it comes to zippers and buttons. Nothing is new. We produce everything locally and we're proud of that. We want to build like an ecosystem around us of like Lebanese production houses. Also, the brand is very much involved with Creative Space Beirut, which is the school I graduated from, and it's a free school for fashion design. It's an NGO. So it's kind of me giving back to the school. And I personally am like vegan. I'm a human rights activist, animal rights activist. And this also, obviously, it's reflected in the brand. So literally, it's like trying to impact everything that surrounds the brand 360 in a positive way.
So what are some of the things that you're not able to make sustainably?
Honestly, there's a lot of things. I mean, it's not that we're not able to do sustainable, but because we're in Lebanon, for example, using dead stocks has a lot of limitations. There's only few quantities of fabrics. Obviously, Lebanon is not a huge market. That's why suppliers don't bring that much fabric. So sometimes like I'm only able to produce 2 or 3 pieces from a certain style. Other things when it comes to production in Lebanon, like maybe just before Civil War, we used to have those big factories, ready-to-wear factories, and a lot of big brands used to produce in Lebanon, but now we lost all that. So the tailors are not that well experienced and not that well trained when it comes to ready-to-wear, unlike haute couture. You know, we're the best in haute couture, but when it comes to ready-to-wear, there's still a lot to learn. So this can be a bit challenging. Also, when it comes to trims and haberdasheries, it's the quality, you know, like a lot of things come from China. And if you want to buy vintage, sometimes they're not, like they're rusty, you know? Mm-hmm. So you have to be very selective and you have to be open-minded when it comes to quantities, and you have to work with people that understand the brands and the values, and basically they admire that, so they disregard some other stuff.
What's haberdashery? Like the metal
like the
pieces?
Trims, yeah, like buttons, zippers, those kind of stuff.
So you get those vintage as well?
Yeah.
So how do you get your hands on all that dead stock and fabrics, like from factories? I'm just trying to understand.
Basically, when I was part of the International Fashion Showcase in London, part of my proposal was to research like fabric places that existed in Lebanon before the Civil War, because back then we used to have a very nice like quality of fabrics, like Italian stuff, unlike now, like everything is Chinese. And so I researched all those people. I went to them and I asked them for their dead stock, and for them it was something super strange because no one does that, you know. Everybody was interested in what they're bringing new, but I was interested in like the old stuff they have, which was like sitting in the basement for like the past 30 years. And they were very happy because they managed to make some profit from things that for them, khalas, it's a loss.
Yeah.
And like one guy led me to another guy, and then the research expanded, and then it happened like literally. You go underground, you meet those people, you do some research, and that's how you do it.
So, but you'd think you'd run out of supplies eventually.
I mean, vintage, yeah, dead stock, no, because there are suppliers that bring dead stock fabrics from abroad. Dead stock is basically the leftovers of fabric factories, or whenever a factory goes bankrupt, they have to, in order to file for bankruptcy, you have to burn all the fabrics that you have. So otherwise, you can't. So what these guys do, they go buy everything there for like a very cheap price, and they bring it to Lebanon.
So you actually won the FTA Ready to Wear prize at last year's Fashion Trust Arabia 2019. Part of, I'm sure, the judging process included finding designers that would be able to build upon what they were doing to become a commercial brand.
Yeah.
So is what you're doing something that can be scaled up? Are you able to, since you're doing everything locally by hand and you're relying on small quantities of stock, how can you scale that onto a larger business?
I mean, obviously, everything can be scaled up. It's just you need to create your own system. And now, like lately in the industry, people of the industry are being more open-minded when it comes to that. So I'm not saying that even if it's possible, I would never want to create 100 or 200 pieces from like a style. This is not what the brand stands for. I'm very pro slow fashion. I don't believe like if I would do that, basically I'm doing everything. It's everything the brand stands against, but we can still scale. What for example, what I was doing with the last collection in Paris, we presented the collection there. Instead of, so we have, for example, one fabric that can make 6 suits. So what I did is I brought different samples to the showroom and then showed the suppliers, and each supplier I gave exclusivity to one fabric to each boutique, not supplier. And then they enjoyed that because people like exclusivity and boutiques like that. So instead of making 30 pink suit, I made like 6 pink, 7 purple, 8 orange, and it was exclusive for each boutique, and people love that. So that's how I'm playing, I'm twisting it.
Yeah, well, that makes a lot of sense. Your clothes are really out of the box. You're saying you make suits. Let's not confuse anyone. You're not making business suits.
No.
You have for instance, the hesitation skirt/shirt, which is a piece, I guess, that's multifunctional.
Exactly.
Then I saw on your Instagram today, you have this puffer scarf. It's kind of like a puffer coat, but it's a scarf.
Yeah.
There are kind of things that are very quirky that you wouldn't see elsewhere. What's your idea of fashion and how people should be dressing?
Honestly, when it comes to pieces that are modular and you can they have different purposes, you can wear in different ways. As a designer, I love this challenge. I love the challenge of creating these pieces because you have to think like patterns. It takes you back to school, basically. Back to those days when you're only thinking about pattern and how to create something new. But also, I think that a big issue in the industry these days is the landfills. People are wearing literally some t-shirts once and then they're throwing them away. So what I'm trying to do is trying to create a piece that you can wear in different ways. So basically you're making the lifespan of the piece longer, which is also part of sustainability. That reduces the waste. So yeah, I think that it's literally trying. Everything I do comes from either something I'm passionate about, but also is at the same time it has a purpose.
And then even you did a photo shoot, was it last year?
It was the fall winter 19, yeah, this fall.
Yeah, which was basically on top of the Beirut garbage mountain, as it's called. Can you tell me how you came up with the idea and about the actual experience of shooting there?
So mainly, I wanted the garbage crisis was happening, it's been happening for the past 4 years back then, and suddenly people were very happy about recycling, and they were everybody started recycling, and then at some point I felt that people, especially people around me, were fed up with the idea. They don't want to talk about the crisis anymore, and it really, as an activist, I was really upset. So I wanted to create a buzz around that issue again to get people to talk about it again. That's why I decided to merge things I do best, which is clothing. I thought putting some nice clothing on literally a landfill of garbage. It was controversial, and this will make people talk about the issue again. And this is actually what happened.
Well, for sure, it got like a lot of international attention, but
Yeah.
did it really wake people up? I feel like people get tired quickly, especially in this country. I mean, we have it again with the revolution.
Yeah.
It's happening. People are kind of, out of breath. I don't remember what happened after. Like, did they ever solve the garbage process?
I think it came in a
Crisis?
time. Obviously, the crisis is not solved, but it came. I think it was perfect. The timing was perfect because now more and more people are like understanding the importance of, like, they're into sustainability and understanding the importance of everything we do. And the campaign came at the same time in parallel with that. So I think at least it helped few people realize the importance of what we're doing.
And how was that experience? I mean, you brought actual models there.
Yeah.
How long did it take to shoot?
So the full crew was Lebanese. The photographer, George Hana, basically, he was the most passionate about us because he had no problem lying on the floor full of garbage and the garbage juice, like just to take the perfect shots. While us, even the models, like at first they were like very not.
Yeah.
Obviously, you're not comfortable there.
It's not
you
so
know?
glamorous.
Yeah, exactly. But then, like at the end of the day, we were like by afternoon, we were like, oh, khalas, we don't care anymore. I stink already. Like, who cares?
Adi.
Yeah, exactly. But the first few hours, it was horrible. And then, like, my laundry bill was like huge because I had to send everything, whatever I shot and I didn't shoot, we had to send everything back to laundry because literally we were stinking. Like, the smell was horrible.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
But I feel sorry, honestly, to people who have to work there every day and like people who live close. I don't know how they do it.
I mean, it's the smell is really overwhelming. I can even from like kilometers away, so I can't imagine.
Honestly, also like a night not a nice thing, but like something I realized there while shooting is when you go there, it's a big landfill, and it's basically they're throwing garbage in the sea, which is like it's nobody's land, like the new land doesn't belong to anyone. So there was a lot of homeless people who built shelters for them there. There was a lot of dogs and cats, and somehow this horrible thing, which is like the garbage landfill, turned into their safe haven. So basically it was like when you're there, like the emotions you have, part of it, like you're what a horrible thing this is, and then you're like, you see those people, but like, what if we remove all this garbage? Then what happens to those people? So you're like, it's like you put yourself, like you're like, I don't know what to do, like, do I feel sad? Do I feel okay about it?
Yeah, but I mean, those people shouldn't be living there in the first place. It also makes you sad about the,
Situation.
inequalities that exist, the incredible inequalities, and how, how much more would it take for someone who owned a piece of land they weren't using, maybe, to help out people that needed, On that note, let's talk a little bit about the FTA prize that you won last year.
Yep.
So what was the prize exactly? And let me ask you this also, why do you think you won?
So the prize was basically mentorship and different events we had. Like, for example, we went to New York and had an exhibition with the DVF, Diane van Furstenberg. Also a collaboration with Matches. We're going to be stocking on Matches soon. And obviously there was like a grant,
How much was the grant?
It was $150,000.
Okay.
Which is it was very good, to be honest. Why I think I won, honestly, there was a lot of very good designers. There was a lot of like the Lebanese designers there are my friends.
There were designers also from like Morocco and Egypt.
I personally think the level of designers who were there were like literally the best people in the region. I think because I have a story, like basically me coming from creative space, and I also maybe because it was very. The brand and myself, the story of the brand is very genuine because literally it comes from me. It's not like a story that came out of nowhere. It's a continuation of me, and I feel that people felt that it's authentic, it's genuine. I'm not just following the like trying to ride the wave of sustainability. I'm an activist. I've been an activist for like the past 6-7 years, like way before this was a thing. So I felt that people felt that.
The authenticity. But it definitely is a wave. Actually, there's a McKinsey report that's talking about, like how sustainability in fashion is going to be the biggest opportunity and the biggest challenge in this year in 2020, because it's been kind of slowly growing, and now it's really at the forefront of what brands are thinking about because people care more. So is this what the big e-sellers are looking for? You talked about you're going to be on matches.com. Have you had the opportunity to meet with buyers of that caliber? And is this something that's at the top of their list?
To be honest, I think it is a priority now, but I'm not sure if it's the priority. Like, people really want brands that have stories, that are into sustainability, but even whenever they buy or whenever, I don't think it matters as much as we think it does, because you still see all those brands that are not sustainable or that are greenwashing, and buyers are literally like giving the biggest budget to them, while like small brands that are more sustainable, I mean, I feel, I don't know, it's hard, but my experience, I say no, it's not that much, to be honest.
Yeah, there's a lot of greenwashing going on, like what you
especially
said.
in the Middle East.
Yeah, which is interesting, actually, because according to another report by McKinsey, we're easing into like an economic slowdown across the world, and the fashion industry is expected to suffer quite a bit, even though since 2000, apparently, clothing production has roughly doubled, which is incredible. So now they're expecting a bit of a slowdown. However, in the Middle East, we have big spenders, right? We have the spending in some GCC countries are among the highest on a per capita basis in the world, including in Saudi Arabia and the UAE. Currently, Dubai is the region's shopping capital, but Saudi is not far behind. How are you planning on leveraging this as you kind of try to build your brand?
Honestly, I'm trying to take it organically. Like, I'm really not rushing anything. I understand it's important. Like, it's to scale up your business is very important. It's important to sell at different boutiques, have different selling points, make money. But I don't want to rush things, because if you go up super fast, you're gonna go down like really quickly.
Yeah.
So I'm taking it like collection by collection, project by project, and I'm trying to take doing it in an organic way and in an authentic way.
So where are you selling your stuff now?
So now I'm selling a few places, like a boutique in Lebanon called Boutique Hub. I have my own showroom. I'm selling at Creative Space Beirut on their online shop, CSB shop, and Al Uthman in Kuwait, Harvey Nichols Qatar soon for SS20.
Oh, great.
Matches.com, SS20 as well.
Which is awesome. That's really exciting. You don't seem like the typical designer guy, if you know what I mean. Most designers are really kind of more flamboyant and kind of more into vanity, and, you can tell that they're into this by their personal style. How did you end up in this business? Someone who considers themselves an activist.
Yeah.
Because it seems kind of like a superficial industry to be in. I mean, after all, it's like, do you really need to be buying new clothes? You could just go to the Salvation Army and pay whatever. That's in the US, by the way. But I'm sure there are places like that here, or you could wear your old clothes. So how did you decide that you wanted to be in fashion and you wanted to be a designer?
Honestly, when I started at Creative Space, it was for me, there was like the fashion industry, and there was like Roni Helou, and there was like the person Roni Helou. There was two things when I first started the brand, right after I graduated, because and I felt this conflict. I started the brand right after I graduated, and I'm like, the brand was doing well, but I wasn't happy. I felt super disconnected, and this was really I wasn't feeling well. But then when I went to London for IFS, it's there where I really met new people with new way of thinking, and they really appreciate it, because I was thinking, like, do I really want to merge what I do as a person with the brand? Like, do I really want that? Do people in Lebanon want to hear about those problems on Instagram, on a Instagram account dealing with
you're afraid you'll turn people off, because people like this imaginary beautiful world, right?
And that no was the answer I was getting in Lebanon. But when I went to London, everybody was like super excited and was pushing me to do it. And then that's when I felt, oh wow, okay, I'm relieved. I'm going to go for it. And then I came back and I decided to go for it. And slowly, more and more people were like really appreciating what I'm doing. Yeah. And then I think it's just like you discover those people, like you discover them on their way. More and more people starting to hear about me, and then it just happened.
Yeah,
so it was really random. It was random, let's say.
So do you feel like there's a growing community of like-minded people? We're hearing, Joaquin Phoenix just did the speech at the Oscars about inequality in the world and how all species, genders, and races should treat each other equally and not, take advantage of and pillage and whatever, and we should all be equal. Do you think there's do you see it in your ecosystem and your surroundings that there's a growing number of people that are kind of going in this direction of equality and leaving this old idea of king of the jungle maybe idea?
I think it is. I can see the change coming slowly, but also as a person, I really think one person can make a change. Knowing from myself, I started being an activist. I'm an animal rescuer as well.
Oh, tell me about that.
Yeah, so I rescue animals. I rescue cats, dogs.
You mean from the
birds
street?
From the street. I give them treatment and then I find them homes. So yeah, when I first started doing that, basically, none of my, I remember none of my entourage ever had a pet, and now basically every single person I know has a pet.
Yeah.
Most of them are they adopted the pets from me. So I really believe that one person can make a change, and I did it. A lot of people around me now, they're vegan because I'm vegan. A lot of people now understand the disadvantages or the damages, the meat industry. So as a on that level, I managed to make a change, and I think also some people around me really now understand my values when it comes to the fashion industry. Also my fears. What I think. Something's happening. It's not what I really want. I want all this to happen really faster, but it's happening slowly.
What are you doing about recycling?
So we recycle, but unfortunately, I don't think we're doing enough.
The facilities in this country, at least, and I don't think across the Middle East, are up to par. You have some countries in Europe. I remember I met the mayor of this small town in France on a holiday, and he was telling us how they recycle everything, everything down to refrigerators, and some countries and some areas in the world are really bringing down their waste to close to nothing.
Yeah.
It's incredible. So I don't understand why.
But also, it's not just recycling. I think also as a consumer, we need to understand, we need to do our best literally to limit our consumption of plastic. That's the main issue, especially in Lebanon, because we don't really trust those factories, recycling or treating factories.
Plants, yeah.
We don't really trust them because we how things happen in this country. So I personally, on a personal level, what I try to do as much as possible is dodging plastic and go for other alternatives. And that's what I'm trying to push people around me.
Yeah. So, for example, you bring your own bags to the grocery store.
Yeah, always.
You try to avoid buying
my
packaged.
own bottle of water usually that I bring with me. I forgot it today.
Yeah, it happens.
Even I only wear vintage stuff. My dad's old closet. It's a lifestyle. You need to teach yourself or to get it to adapt yourself to that.
That's so nice. You wear your dad's old wardrobe.
Yeah.
Is that what you're wearing today?
The pants, yeah.
The pants? Yeah. I didn't notice the pants. That's awesome. I hope he still has some clothes left.
Basically, these are his old stuff.
His old stuff.
He looks at me and he's like, what are you wearing?
Yeah.
I'm that. But I like that.
Does he say it like that in English with those words?
In Arabic.
Oh, okay.
No.
How would he say it in Arabic?
He's like, شو لابس شو صاير لك شو هيدا.
I don't know exactly what you just said, but it sounded really good. I'd be laughing too.
He's just shocked. For him, he thinks this is the 90s and the 80s, we're the 2020s. What are you thinking? Why are you wearing something that
What's the best thing you found in his closet?
Not his closet. The best thing I found was in my grandpa's closet. It was a vintage Calvin Klein blazer that I still wear till now. And it's a very nice blazer. Yeah. Yeah,
Calvin used to have some great stuff. I don't know what happened to him. Back to the Future. Yes. That's what happened. So you're a great example, by the way, of someone who's really making it. People say what can I do, right? People kind of live their lives thinking that if they can't make that big difference right away, they might as well just not do any effort. Like you said, it's a lifestyle.
You do your best. It's the power really of one person.
Power of one, and slowly. What else can we do? But it's really inspiring and wonderful to meet someone who's practicing what they preach.
Thank you.
So mabruk.
Thank you.
And mabruk on the prize, and looking forward to seeing you again this year to share your story at FTA.
Yeah.
Take care. I wish you much success.
Thank you so much.
And many apprentices.
Thank you for having me.
That's it, and thanks for hanging out with us. Make sure to subscribe on your way out and check us out on social media. See you next time.